It's about days of my life. Today we're going back to January 2003 and we're at Heathrow Airport, London. Heathrow Airport's like a city on its own. A city where no one really knows each other. I was 22 years old. I was setting out on an adventure. For a long time, I'd had this feeling that I needed to go and find something that I couldn't find there. I didn't know what that thing was. It was just a feeling. In the end, the only thing that I could think of was to change everything. I had this crazy idea that I'd go to India and I'd meet somebody, or I'd find something, and it would make me complete. I went through all the rigmarole that you have to do at airport. Yes sir, no sir, obey the rules, stand here, put your arms up, open your bag. It was a late flight, 2 a.m. in the morning, with some tired looking people. Looking around in the waiting room, I felt like I stood out a bit. I was the youngest guy there, and also I was the only white guy there. It made me feel like I was certain that I was going somewhere else. Somewhere where I didn't belong. Somewhere maybe where my face wouldn't just blend in. There was one person that did stand out to me in the crowd. She looked about the same age as me. She had sea blue jeans on, long black hair, olive skin, and brown eyes. And as I sat and I listened to my Walkman, my eyes couldn't help but look over at her now and again. I'd never been on a plane before. I'd never even left England before. But the time came, 2 a.m. I stood up with my rucksack and I walked forward out of the terminal and into the dark and the cold. I remember putting my first step onto the ladder of the plane and watching my other foot lift up and say goodbye to England. I suppose it was the first moment I realised I can't go back from this. Found my seat and put my backpack in the overhead locker. It looked like I was going to be on my own. And then she came. So as we got ready to take off, I was buckled up and I was feeling nervous. The engine started to rev up and I turned to this woman sitting next to me and said, "Sorry, I feel a bit nervous. I've never flown before." She looked back and smiled. She said, "It's okay, don't worry about it. You'll be fine." I remember looking out of the window and seeing the blackness turn into the street lights of London. It was an 8-hour flight from London Heathrow to Bahrain Airport, and then from Bahrain Airport another 8 hours to Mumbai, India. At some point, and I don't remember how exactly, I started talking to the girl next to me. Her name was Jasmine. She asked me where I was going. I said I didn't really know. She asked me why I was going. I said I didn't really know. I listened to her though, and she told me about why she was going to India. Her whole family was Indian, and she'd been sent over to England to go to university at King's College London. She was studying medicine, and she was supposed to be a doctor. However, things hadn't quite turned out as planned. Her grades weren't good enough, and she'd been told that she'd failed her university course. This meant that she was going to be summoned back to India. And not just back to India, back for good. She'd had her chance, and she hadn't taken it. She was going back to the family home. There were 7 kids in one little house. She'd have to cook for them, she'd have to clean for them, and she'd have to work all day. Jasmine told me all her life she'd been controlled. She'd been told what to be, how to be it. She'd been told where to live, what to study, and even what to wear most of the time. The more and more we talked, the more I liked her. I told Jasmine about my mum dying, how I'd helped to look after her. I told her that I was just running away. She seemed okay with the fact that I didn't know what I was doing. Jasmine told me about her last boyfriend. He'd been in a band. She didn't really like the band, and she didn't really like him. He'd started to treat her just the way that her family had treated her. If she was wearing clothes that were too tight or showed too much skin, he'd tell her about it. If they went out and he thought that other men were looking at her, he'd tell her off and say that she was to blame. If she ever talked to another guy, it was flirting. If she ever looked at someone else, she must be cheating on him. I said to Jasmine that her boyfriend sounded like a dick. No one should treat anybody like that. It seemed to me that Jasmine had been treated like an object. She's never really been allowed to be who she was supposed to be, or even who she wanted to be. She was a beautiful object. And I suppose sometimes some people, when they have a beautiful object, they want to keep it exactly how it is. That seems so sad to me. From the window outside, we saw the sky turn from dark to golden red as we approached Bahrain Airport. There was an in-flight movie. It was a Bollywood special. Now, I don't like Bollywood. I've never really understood them, and I don't like musicals full stop. I don't like all the singing, I don't like all the dancing. But I remember how sweet it was that Jasmine pulled one of her earphones into my ear. She put her hand on my knee and she said, "You must watch this, it's a classic." So for an hour or so, I watched a Bollywood special, not knowing what was going on, people dancing around. It seemed like the main plot was there was a guy that was supposed to be married to another family, but he didn't want to be. He wanted to marry his sweetheart, but that was forbidden. Very Romeo and Juliet, I guess. But she smiled and she giggled and she kept looking over at me to see if I was looking too. Just before the big number at the end of the Bollywood thing, I look over and Jasmine's fallen asleep on me. Her hair cocked to the side and nestled into my neck. I put my head over and I smell her hair. Her mouth slightly open, her long dark hair tangled around her neck. And for the next hour, I just watch her. Bahrain Airport is very different to Heathrow Airport. There isn't that many stressed out people trying to run you over with their suitcases. For me, it was a culture shock. I'd never been abroad before. Lots of people in full Muslim outfits. Most of the women you could only see their eyes behind their burqas. Most of the men had full beards and elaborate scarves. The airport has a massive fountain in the middle of it, surrounded by gold, and everywhere you look looks like it's just been polished. We had a 2-hour stopover at Bahrain. I said to Jasmine I was going to find a place to sit down, and maybe shut my eyes for half an hour. She said she was going to the bathroom. So I'm lying there, and I'm just starting to fade out the sounds of the airport, when she comes and taps me on my shoulder. Jasmine looks different. She's put makeup on, bright red lipstick, and her black eyelashes seem, if possible, even darker and longer. "Aidan," she says, "I want you to make love to me, right here, right now." "What the fuck are you talking about, Jasmine?" I say. But she's staring straight through me. She's serious. Look, we've just met. If you want to hook up in India or something, then we can do. But I don't think here and now. No, I want you to make love to me right here, right now. Follow me. She holds out her hand, and I take it. Jasmine looks down at her suitcase, and she unzips it. "You're not going to..." And as I'm saying the words, she does it. Jasmine is only 5 feet tall. I can fit my entire hand round her neck. She's very slender, and as she unzips her suitcase, she puts one bended knee into it, then turns her other side and puts her other knee into it. "Zip me up," she says, "and take me into the bathroom. I wheel the suitcase up to the bathroom door. There's an armed guard there. He looks at the suitcase and then he looks back at me. No suitcase. I've got to take it in with me, I say, trying to think of an excuse. You go, this stays. I've got to take it in, I've got some medicine to take, I say, lying quickly. The guard looks at me and says, Okay, be quick. So, I sneak into this bathroom with my suitcase and I can hear Jasmine giggling inside the suitcase. I take the suitcase into the cubicle with me and I watch the suitcase unzip and Jasmine's hand and then face come out. She stands in front of me and I don't really know what to do. Jasmine looks at me and she kisses me. I kiss her back and she lifts my shirt off. I close my eyes and we kiss more. That was amazing. Jasmine holds me. I've never done anything like that before. Me neither, she says. I just hold her back. We get dressed rapidly. Jasmine gets back in the suitcase. And I try and play it cool as I walk past the guard. He gives me a stern look. We find our terminal and we wait for the plane. I look at Jasmine. She's got that warm glow about her. I look down at my hands and they're shaking. We board our flight, but this time we're not sitting together. I wait for 5 or 10 minutes and I start to think, is that it? But then she comes over. The hostess with her. Of course you can sit with your boyfriend. Boyfriend, I think. And she says, no, I just told them that so that I could sit next to you. We don't talk as much this time. She nestles her head back into me and she falls asleep again. As we approach Mumbai, Jasmine wakes up. I can tell something is different. She looks at me in a completely different way. I say, hey, you don't have to go to your family, you can come with me. I don't have much money, I don't really know where I'm going, but that's a better option, isn't it? Jasmine shakes her head. Stepping off the plane in Mumbai was like a sense overload. The sound of horns beeping and a wave of heat overwhelms my body. I say to Jasmine again, you don't have to do this, you can come with me. She smiles, but her head is down and her eyes are down. Aidan, of course I'm not coming with you. And as we walk out of the terminal and into the main airport, I try to hold Jasmine's hand. She holds it just for a few seconds and then takes it away from me. She doesn't say anything. I look over at her and she has 2 tears running down her cheek. I say again, come on, come with me, stay with me. But she says nothing. As we walk out into the crowds, she spots her grandmother. Her grandmother looks at her. No smile, no hug, no welcome home. Just a fixed stare. I think about grabbing her hand again, but I don't want to make more trouble for her. She looks to me, just out of the corner of her eye. Bye, Aidan, she says. I watch the dark hair and the slender figure merge into the crowd. I want to run after her and stop her. I want to grab her. I want to take her with me. But within 10 seconds, she's gone and I can't make her out anymore. That'll be the last time that I ever saw Jasmine. So here I am. I made it. But this wasn't what I was expecting. It hits me all at once. I suddenly feel very scared and very alone. I realise I'm a long, long way from home.